Good evening. Welcome to Whispers of the Soul. And we're talking about how to be unpopular. You decided somewhere that you were going to be on this journey, this spiritual growth, inner reflection, connection, mystical path. And all of a sudden, you don't have any friends. Nobody understands you. Nobody wants to hear you. You start explaining your stuff and their eyes glaze over. That's like me when people start talking about football or something. I'm like, I'm done. I don't know what you're talking about. And it can really seem like that. But don't let it hold you back. Being popular is what is it worth? Nothing. Maybe money if you're like a famous actor or influencer. Is that what they call them? Influencer? Do they make money? I don't know.
Yeah, they do.
Somebody like that, then I guess, yeah, you do want to have that. But when you're on this journey, this spiritual journey, it's not about making money. Not that you don't need money. Like that's how we live in this world. But that's not the goal. So as you're navigating this path and find yourself lonely, alone, know that you're not, that all of us are feeling the same thing, and that there are others out there who are on the journey and understand. It's a matter of having this belief in your heart and this knowledge, and you know that what you are struggling to learn, to absorb, to expand your understanding of is truth. And that even though there are going to be people that are going to poo-poo you, or again, not want to hear you, are not going to want to hang out with you, have faith that you're it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be okay, because truth and the reality of those vibrations in your body, of reality of truth and understanding and connection and spirituality and creator, trump some friend who dumps you because you no longer think like them. You also, as we're on this journey, we learn more and more and accept more and more that we are spiritual, eternal beings. Everybody else is walking around with earthbound minds, meaning that their perspective, the way they approach things, the way the decisions are made, everything is with the understanding that this earth, this life is the end all be all. But you know that it's not. And so if maybe you're not the most popular person, you don't have 50,000 friends, you don't always have somebody to go out with, to hang out with, it's a drop in the bucket of your eternal life. You're going to go home and be with other people, with other beings, with other souls who are with you and understand you, that you can have these experiences with. Don't let it get you down here. This is temporary. It'll only be like this for a while. And again, the more you go along and meet other people, and maybe you just have to meet them online, maybe, with reading books and you connect with the author, whether you actually talk to them or not, besides the point. But do you ever read a book about something and you have this like deep connection with the person because they bared their soul to you in the book? So you have earthly beings that you can connect with, on top of which, of course, you have your spirit souls, spirit guides, ancestors, descendants, all these beings that are around you And as you go along and expand your understanding, you can learn how to connect with them. With discernment, always with discernment. We talk about that all the time. Don't have time to go into it now, but discernment if you're going to be talking with spirit. This topic comes up so much because people feel overwhelmed and sad and estranged. We just had a woman here in the office yesterday, and she was talking about how she's been on this journey for several years now and cannot talk to her family about it at all. They just don't hear her, and so she doesn't say anything. That's hard. The people closest to you, supposedly, that love you, can't hear you, cannot they have their framework of understanding, and anything that you say just does not penetrate. That's really difficult. I happen to be blessed in that I have a spouse who gets it the same, and we don't have the same understandings of everything, of course. No two people do. But if he says, Karen, there's a spirit in the room, he knows that I can hear him. He doesn't have to edit himself for fear of somebody going, you're nuts. So this is what I've been shown about this situation. We are at a very volatile time in our history. Not that there haven't been other volatile times in history, if you know anything about history. But this is volatile in a different way. Although there was this big spirituality outburst in the 1800s, second half of the 1800s. Now we are changing so much about our understanding with quantum physics and everything. But the bulk of folks are still doing things the way that we have been from top down told. So this is why you're special. If you have ever heard the term vanguard, I know that there's like a financial, maybe they do, I don't know what they do, stock market or something, I don't know, vanguard or insurance, whatever. But do you know what vanguard actually means? In the day when we used to have soldiers that would meet each other on the battlefield, there would be this side, and they're facing each other, right? And somebody says go, or 3, 2, 1, blast off, I don't know, whatever they say, and they run towards each other and start trying to kill each other with their swords and knives and guns and whatever they have. But sometimes there would be, so say this side has shields up, and this side has to somehow break through to that side, through those shields. Or however, maybe there's an uphill, or there's some kind of environmental setting that gives one an advantage over the other. So they would create, the other side would create what's called a vanguard. There is a V. So select soldiers would volunteer or be called upon to create this vanguard, this point, which it's easier to penetrate the other side from a single point than coming full on like this. So there's one guy, then 2 guys, then 3 guys, and however it's configured, it's like in a V, and they're going to hit the other side to penetrate, to try and get some advantage. They're in battle. They're trying to win, and that gives them hopefully an advantage. So most of the army is back here waiting while this group, this small select group, is being a vanguard. And that's who you are. You are in the vanguard. Your family, all those that don't understand you, they're still waiting back here in line because they don't have what it takes to be in the vanguard. It takes courage. It takes faith. It takes strength. It takes sacrifice because face it, you're probably not going to make it back. And that's what you are. All of us on this journey right now that are trying to penetrate that other side, that penetrate that materialism, that earthbound, stuck philosophy and way of living. We're trying to poke a hole in it and get it to break up so that we can, those of us we can raise the vibration of this place. Not only are you in it, are you in the vanguard, but you chose. You chose to be it. So you have nothing to despair about. You agreed to do it. You wanted to do it. I don't think you chose it because it was easy, but you know that you're strong enough and you can do it. You chose it, you're doing it, and sometimes it's rough. But you are going to go home and everything's going to be okay. In the meantime, just keep plowing along and doing your job. That's your job, what you agreed to come here to do. And yes, you're strange.
Can you define
To everybody else, what?
Can you define authentic self from a spiritual standpoint? What is authentic self?
When you are in your authentic self, you are not bowing down to false gods, fashion gods, popularity gods, all those kind of non-essential, unimportant things that many people adjust themselves to fit in to those false, I won't say false realities because it's really not even a reality, false notions. You are true to yourself. Somebody asks you to do something, you don't want to do it, and you're honest about it with yourself at least. You don't have to maybe say to the other person, I don't want to do it. But if you're honest with yourself about whether you want to do it or not, and whether you're going to do it or not, whether it's somebody wants you to help in something, whether somebody, I'm always like, because the whole thing we talked about truth last time, and like, if you're going to ask me, do I like your haircut, Wendy, which is beautiful. And she didn't ask me if I liked her haircut. She just said, anyways, but I think it looks nice. But if you ask me, do you like my haircut or my jeans or my shoes or whatever, you better be okay. You better be okay with me saying no, because I'm not going to tell you it's you know, if you like it, that's really all that matters, right? And if maybe it needs some tweaking that I can help you with, I'd be happy to. But you want to be authentic and don't just say it's nice, it looks great, because that's what you feel that you should say. And obviously that's a very trivial example of being in your authentic self. But how you walk, how you eat, the decisions that you make, what is true and what is right and what is ethical. Are you making your decisions based on who you actually are and how you actually feel, or because what's expedient, what's going to get you the raise, what's going to make someone like you, all those things that affect how we act. And it's sometimes very obvious, and sometimes it's very, very subtle. And if you aren't in tune with yourself, then you don't even know. So you're basically a puppet. You're You're a puppet. So I guess the opposite of authentic self is puppet. I can't hear you.
Second. I forgot that I muted myself. You were saying that that example was kind of trivial, but then when you were talking about, all those things, you kind of hit on it. When you say things to people that aren't true, then you're not reflecting your own true self. You're not being true to yourself.
Mhm.
And if you do it in the small things, then you're for sure going to do it in the big things, I think,
Yeah.
Now, for myself, when I was young, it was always, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Okay, well, that makes some good sense. But at the same time, if you came up to me and said, do you like this outfit that I have? How does it look on me? Well, how am I not supposed to say anything? So
Yeah.
you have to say something. And so I would always say something nice,
Mhm.
And so I know myself, I wasn't always being authentic.
Mhm.
It's a hard habit to break those, now I just keep my mouth shut more often than not.
Yeah. And it is. And like I said, this thing about being honest, married with tact is certainly for me a challenge, because I'd be like, yeah, no, that looks terrible. Hopefully I wasn't ever that blunt, but it's very possible that I was. So again, you want to be authentic and yet be truthful and find a way to say, again, if you like it, if you're the person that you're engaging with, if they like the outfit, how does it make you feel?
Right.
You think, if it makes them happy, then that's all good.
Mhm.
Um, somebody dear to me just got their hair cut really short, and I know she's gonna see this, so hi. And she's like, yeah, and she's like, but it's gonna grow. I don't have to go back to get it cut again for a while. I'm like, well, that's very true. You do not have to get it cut again for a while. It look terrible. I think it looks cute. I think, but again, it's her hair, but she made it easy for me to be nice about it. Yeah, oh, yeah, you're right. You don't have to get it cut for a while.
I
So,
think you all are equating authentic with truthful. I equate authentic more with being my unique self, who I am.
Yeah.
So some people are truly just very sweet and kind. And I think of cultures like in the Persian culture where it would be rude to tell that kind of truth if it was hurtful. And I
Mhm.
think we're invested with different capacities, and honesty can be a beautiful thing,
Mhm.
but kindness can also be a beautiful thing. So in that example, it might be more authentic. It might not be authentic to be honest if that's not
Mhm.
you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like some people are just very, very kind and that's them. Like what about authenticity in terms of being
Okay.
your true self, creating a life and living a life that honors who you are as a unique being and soul?
Okay. Well, you are correct. We did kind of dwell more on and I said this, we're talking about, we're using a trivial example when I talked about the clothes, but when we're talking about, I forget how I put it before, about how you make decisions, how you determine what is right and wrong and what you do, that speaks more to authenticity than like what you're wearing. And I guess, yeah, so let's talk about that some. It's just not as easy to come up with an example. Well, like I said about the job, right? Having been in the workforce since I was 15 years old, and anybody who's worked in any kind of has run into this experience, this situation. There are people who, here's an example. I was working at a job in Lafayette, Indiana, on the job site. We had one project manager, and he was replaced by a different guy. And I walk in one day. I don't think I even knew that the other guy was leaving. It was really kind of, anyway, I come into the trailer and I hear this from the project manager's office. I hear this deep Southern drawl. I'm like, huh, who is that? Then I hear a response of another person with a deep Southern drawl. And I'm like, who are those people over there? And, but, you know, I was a single mother, and I had a very pretty heavy duty job. So I didn't spend time putzing around because I didn't have time. I had to get my job done and get out of there and go home and get my child. Well, eventually I could hear that the conversation broke up, and then one of the persons comes back to the cubby across from me. And it's my boss, who is born and raised in New York. And I'm like, where did that Southern drawl come from? That man doesn't have a Southern drawl. He's from New York. He's not, so he was trying to get in with the new project manager, who was, I don't know, I think it was from Georgia, who did have a Southern drawl. So he like spoke that way with him to, create a connection or whatever. And, for his own, I don't know, survival, advancement, whatever, to get in good with him, to get in with the PM. So was that authentic? I mean, was he authentically being himself and portraying himself as he actually was, and allowing the PM to get to know him as a real person and not some made up fellow Southerner? And that's just one example, but we've all seen where people that will run to the boss and tell them, Bob Jones, he's over there, he did this, he did that, or whatever, even different things. I mean, we've all seen it. I mean, I guess, Shell, you did make a good point. If you're authentically, no, I can't say that. I was going to say, if you're authentically a snitch, because you said, like, if you're authentically a kind person, I don't think you can, or a bad mouther or a gossip or a fake or whatever. I don't think that if you are a fake or a gossiper or whatever, I don't think you're authentic. Because that is not who we are as spiritual, eternal beings. So those behaviors are inauthentic in and of themselves. Most likely due to trauma. There are other reasons. That happens, but for a great degree, it's because of trauma. So authentic self is sitting with, okay, you're at the grocery store or wherever, and somebody gives you extra change, or you see a $20 bill or whatever fall out of somebody's pocket. The authentic, real thing to do would be to go give it to them, because you would not be in your authenticity if you kept it for yourself. If you hurt someone, if you hit somebody's car and drove away. Being authentic is being honest and with yourself, trueness, and again, ethics. I mean, finding your ethical self. That is your true self, and navigating around that, and not using expedient behavior to short-circuit your path, shortcut your path. That extra $50 in your pocket is a shortcut in your path, right? When I got an extra $50 I don't have to work for, I can go buy a meal or whatever. I don't have to work those extra 2 hours or whatever for that $50. It's shortcuts. And then another angle of this authentic thing is, and here's where I fell down a lot, and I'm getting better, is, and in my family of origin, I happen to be the one that gets called on to help out with things. And I'd always say yes, even if I didn't want to. And that's not being authentic. Then that's not being true to myself. And so I am learning to be more authentic, to be more real, and to be more transparent about how this is affecting me, and that maybe this is not what I want to do, or have the time to do, or have the strength to do, or the energy to do, and being authentic about that. Hey, family member, you know, I'm exhausted, and I really just can't do that for you right now. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to say yes all the time. If you can, you can, but be authentic. Can you really do it? Because we also know about people are always saying yes and yes, and then eventually they start being like, oh my God, I am doing this and this and this, and you start complaining about it because you feel like you're being put upon. Well, you're being put upon because you didn't draw a boundary and say no. You didn't allow yourself to be authentic with the situation and say, this is too much for me. I can't do this. I need help. I need a break. I need you to help me to do this, whatever. Is that enough examples?
Yeah, and that still kind of falls within honesty, right? And in terms of authenticity, like even with boundaries and being, again, it's about being honest about what you want to do or can do. What about becoming the unique soul you were meant to be on this earth, fulfilling your purpose on this planet, that form of authenticity?
Okay. Before I answer that, I ask them, like, okay, so I am not apparently conveying authenticity in a sufficient way. So I'm like, what? Well, so what is it? What's the definition of being your authentic self? It's being that that you're a spiritual being on a physical journey. You are a spiritual being. That is your authentic self. That is your true reality. You are somebody who is just journeying here for a while. You're at Earth School, whatever you want to call it. That is who you are. You don't let little things trip you up, because that doesn't matter. If you're authentic, you are walking as that person, and you are making decisions. Again, so your ethics, your choices, your all those things, that's how you're walking as a spiritual being, even though you still have to eat and go to the bathroom and get in the car to go across town. But you are navigating as a spiritual being. I am a spiritual being on a physical journey, and everything that I do, think, say, and do revolves around that. So now, getting to purpose. What did you want to know about purpose?
Well, you hit the big one, right? That we're spiritual beings. So what about now narrowing that to, I know I'm a spiritual being. How do I figure out what I came here to do? Who am I really? You might have 80% of it, but how do you uncover more of it?
Okay. In the simplest terms, in the simplest understanding, your purpose to coming to this planet, this experience, is to make this world and yourself better for your having been here. Bottom line. at the bare minimum of understanding. So if you're unsure of what your like big purpose is, and you're waiting to find it out, and in the meantime, you are making decisions, you are making choices, you're having thoughts, words, and actions that reflect that understanding, that you are here to make the earth and yourself better for your having been here. So is throwing your gum wrapper out the window making the earth better or you better for having been here? No. Is cutting in line making the earth better for your having been here? No, nor yourself. You are making decisions as you're navigating that are making the earth better and yourself better for your having been here. As you develop your understanding of yourself, find your passion. What are you passionate about? That's one of my favorite questions when I meet people, and I don't do it as much as I would like to, because it seems like most people are like it's hard for people to answer that. But I don't really care what you have for a job. I mean, it's interesting. Like some people have really interesting jobs. But what's more relevant is, what are you passionate about? Like, what makes your heart sing? Is it children? Is it puppies? Is it trees? Is it water? Whatever it is, find your passion and figure out how you can align your passion with your life and making this world and yourself a better place for your having been here.
Okay, we have some good questions on that topic.
Okay.
Is being authentic also connecting with your higher power?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Again, you're a spiritual being. And your higher power, of course, who knows what that person is meaning by higher power, but for myself, what I'm assuming they mean is your eternal self, right? I know my eternal self's name. I know a lot about her. It's still hard for me to put it together, my higher self, my eternal self with my earthly self, because I feel like she is like just so amazing and I'm just plodding along, you know. But yeah, because everything that I do is actually my higher self and myself together. I mean, I am part of that higher being. So when you're being your authentic self, you're as you're walking this earth, I don't know that it's possible to actually, no, you're okay. You're not you're not fully your higher self. That higher self doesn't fit in this place. But you're part of it. You are like the abilities and things that you have when you're in spirit are things that we just really don't do here. Certainly not to that degree. So yes, you are connecting with your higher self, but you're not actually going to be like 100% be your higher self. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that connects with one of my questions, but she was referring to God as higher power. Now,
Oh, okay.
I do have a question on this, because that's what I'm wondering is, how do you get more in alignment with your soul, your higher self? How can you, like, you're already a certain percentage of the way there. How do you get even more in alignment, more authentic? Does that make sense as a question?
Yes. Well, and again, you know, you're making choices that resonate as true, as real, as authentic. One tool that you can try is, and this is goes along with developing discernment, is you're sitting with a decision, A, B, or C. So you sit, you whatever decision A is, whatever choice A is, you sit with choice A and pay attention. You may not get it the first time. Pay attention to how that feels in your body. Okay. Take choice A to the side, take on choice B. Take on choice B. How does that feel in your body? Got it? Set it to the side, take on choice C. How does that feel? And eventually you'll be able to discern the difference of what feels right and true and in alignment and what feels false.
Yeah, I call those doing thought experiments, right? Where
Mhm.
play it out, and usually you'll get an immediate answer. You know what to do.
Yeah.
The other question, and I think you may have answered it, but let's ask, what guides your path as a spiritual being?
When I'm on Earth? Okay.
I don't know.
Whoever
It's-
asked the question, if they could
I would
elaborate.
imagine, yes, like what guides your path on this planet when you're a spiritual being, or maybe it is in both worlds.
Is there another question? Well, we get that answered.
She said here on this plane in Earth. on
Okay.
Earth.
What guides your path as a spiritual being while you're here on Earth?
Yes.
Okay. Yourself. People don't always know this, but when you meditate, that's who you're talking to, is your higher self. So meditation is a very, very, very powerful tool. There are 100 different ways to, I'm sure there's more than, there's lots of different ways to meditate. I'm not going to tell you which one to do. Do what works for you. Try different ones. See what works for you. But meditate and talk with yourself. Engage with yourself. Your higher self knows things that your brain has no idea of. And so you're asking yourself through meditation to help you make decisions and understandings. Prayer is the other side of that, right? Prayer is you're engaging with our Creator. You are giving gratitude. You are perhaps asking for things. You are having a conversation. And that sets you in the right vibration. That sets you in a higher vibration. So typically, you would pray and then sit and meditate. You set yourself in a higher vibration. You've engaged with the highest power. And then you meditate and speak with yourself. Now, we like to say that God spoke to me. Well, he does. He, she, no gender. Does. Through a filter. Because same like the ocean, like I need water. Like I need my water every day, however much I drink. But if I drank the ocean, I'd rupture. All my cells would just, I can't handle the ocean. It's too much. I can handle water, which the ocean is, in enough for me. And it's the same as creator energy, which is everywhere and everything. It has to come in kind of a diluted form because all of creator is too much. We're not capable of handling that. And yeah. In speaking with beings who have left here and gone there, have already journeyed on. I remember, I don't know, there's so many stories, but one in particular, I was like, oh, so have you met so-and-so yet? A manifestation. And he's like, oh no, I'm still kind of, in the galley, just kind of observing, seeing what's going on. I am not ready to go and, full on meet that being. It's a journey. It's a journey, and we have eternity. You don't have to do it tomorrow. The minute you pop over there, you don't have to get all the goodies at once. It's a journey. Look forward to it. Oh, this is another step, another step, another step, another step. So you are aligning yourself with Creator, high energy, high vibration, and then you're meditating, and your higher self is speaking with you and giving you answers. And you can even ask your higher self, hey, could you go out and ask about this and about that? Same as I do with spirits, if they're helping, like my plumbing story, which we don't have time for that one, but yeah. Was that enough? Speaking of water.
She's very happy with your explanations.
All right.
Lots of exclamation marks.
I think Wendy had a great question, and it's one of my questions too, I have a first question and then a second question. Do you think the younger generation is doing a better job at being authentic, or do you think they're hindered somewhat by this whole influencer social media world that they live in?
Both.
And then how do we help as teachers, mentors, parents, grandparents? Really, how do we help this younger generation be more free to be their authentic self?
Well, you be authentic. The more you are authentic, the more people around you feel free to be authentic, or at least explore what it means to be authentic. Providing a safe place for someone to come and share with you, or just sit with you. We have so many people, even just here in the United States, and we're not even going to talk about what's going on around the world, but here in the United States, so many people have no idea what it is to eat good food. They're eating junk food. So already they're like practically out of body, right? They're not even functioning. Their whole body is all messed up. So how do you be calm and be real, and you don't even have any nutrition? And or living in households where there's violence, the TV's blaring all the time, there are addiction issues, there are all kinds of things going on. So many people are living in circumstances that separate them, that create a barrier between themselves and any understanding of their eternal self. So sometimes allowing somebody to just sit there with you and not have all that stuff going on is a true gift. And the more that we are able to be a safe place for others and be a model of what it means to walk in that way, the more possibilities you have of reaching them. And holding them accountable, to the degree that you can. Sometimes it's not easy because maybe, their parents aren't going to be thrilled or whatever, but say the neighborhood kid says he's going to come by on Tuesday at 3 and mow your lawn, and he doesn't show up, maybe you don't go bang on his door and demand that he come over. But if he comes over on Friday at 1, it's like, oh, well, it all kind of blows it off that he was supposed to be there, he or she was supposed to be there on Tuesday. Don't let him get away with it. Have a conversation. Don't attack. but have a conversation about, what happened and how this could have been handled better. And I appreciate that you came on Friday, and we can instill little nuggets of growth and understanding and authenticity into our conversations, in our interactions with people. Yeah, my kids weren't always thrilled when I would do that, but oh well. Hopefully, hopefully they learn something. And actually, I'm not bragging or anything. My kids aren't perfect, but they've grown up to be pretty decent people. So I'd like to think that some of my example benefit them.
So we have another comment here. Says, I find community is important, a place where I can be with people in love and light. Do you have any retreats coming up where one can be their authentic self?
Do I ever? Do we ever? Because you guys, several of you that are on here, I can't see who all's on here, but are part of that retreat. And we do it a few times a year. And it's an opportunity to sit and be with our real selves. It's amazing. It just transcends anything that you're going to get walking down the street in your day-to-day life. We come together in love and community and understanding, and a common denominator of being on this journey, being the unpopulars, the Abby Normals, if you saw Young Frankenstein, and do the work. Have Source, our guides, our ancestors all around us, swirling with us and working with us, and it really transcends this earthly experience. It's very powerful. So next one is in November. If you want more information, it's in Batavia, Illinois. If you want to know more, just get a hold of me. So thanks for asking.
Okay, so one thing that we always like to ask before we sign off is, what's one takeaway that they'd like us to have from the information shared this evening?
Be fearless. Not as in be a jerk and be a bull in a china shop, like we talked about another time, but be fearless. Don't be afraid to be your authentic self. Just do it and let the chips fall where they lay. You took chances on being inauthentic and making and doing things to appease others. Take a chance and appease yourself. Be authentic for yourself. Either way, you're taking a chance. You don't know how the other people are going to react. Do it for you. Be fearless. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We are going to have our brief transcendent moment, and where we call in Source and send out some loving, healing energy for you to kind of swim in, be in a hammock in. That'd be kind of cool. It's kind of in a hammock, weightless, airless, not airless, want to breathe. And or in the water floating, however you want to experience it. So get comfortable, and I'll say a little prayer, and we'll send it, and you stay in it as long as you like. Come back to the video anytime on YouTube. They're all on YouTube, and fast forward to the end, and it still works. You can still gain that energy. While you're at it, subscribe, and then hit that it's the bell thing, right? The bell thing that gets you the notice. You see, I didn't even know that. We've
Yes,
never even
that's-
said about doing that, but apparently that's a thing. All right, here we go. Walk through your life with your head held high, your back straight. You are beautiful and should be so proud of yourself. Not in a vanity way, not in a you're better than others way, but glory in what you've accomplished, what you've done, that you're in the vanguard and you're making this world and yourself a better place for your having been here.